Quakertown, Pennsylvania is not exactly where you'd expect to find a skate park quite like this. But even less likely than its location is how it got here. That's thanks to the grassroots efforts of this community and many unexpected partners. But that is a story over 2 decades in the making.
A Bucks County community put in a skate park years ago, but things didn't go as planned. Now there's a new plan and a new vision, thanks to lots of community support.
Quakertown is a great community with a rich background of stirring history. We founded a town with much heart, a friendly place, and one where the future is bright.
I mean, it was, for a while there. Throughout the 1950s, Quakertown was thriving. But like many industrial towns in the region, a number of the factories that fueled that growth shut down. Followed by our railway. And much like neighboring Bethlehem, this resulted in a period of decline for the town. To many, we began to develop a negative reputation. And to most, this was nowhere more obvious than the skate park.
It was a facility that was fenced. The borough had to have an employee down there. They charged for use of it. And to some degree, it wasn't used as much because it was fee-based. We started to, and we did experience, within a very short amount of time, a fair amount of criminal mischief.
In 2003, Quakertown put in this action sports park, but soon after it went up, just 5 years later in fact, they ran into some trouble. Trouble maintaining it, trouble keeping out, well, trouble.
Probably because it was a closed facility. So people that wanted to use it when it was closed, they got in and they trespassed and they used it. I don't think there was any community youth ownership to the facility. We had some arson incidents down there. We had some other, as I said, very serious intentional damage.
There was always friction between our crew of skateboarders and everyone else. There was only a few skate parks. Most of us were kids, we didn't have any money, so we would go skate the streets and find a place to skate, find a ledge, find a rail, find a set of stairs. And free parks were kind of unheard of unless it was a DIY park. And typically if there was a DIY park, it was an old rundown tennis court or basketball court, and everything would be haphazardly thrown together.
From a township perspective, there are a lot of times that the skateboarding community is seen in a negative light. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's not those safe spaces for skateboarders to have the opportunity to develop their skills and just have that place where they belong.
I was there during a couple of significant events that were actually culminated to the idea of closing it. Funny enough, I have some of those core memories because they were some of the first times I was ever out, I guess, sort of in the real world. I'd say the big one that I remember is when the building was broken into. I was, if I'm not mistaken, the youngest person that was there that day.
I was getting to the point where I was going to recommend to council, let's just close the facility. We were spending literally tens of thousands of dollars to do reoccurring maintenance on it. To the credit of Borough Council, they knew the importance of this type of facility in the borough. By the grace of God, and I say really by the grace of God, one day Pastor Dave shows up here at Borough Hall and he says, how can I help?
Quakertown is filled with churches of many denominations. Church attendance is regular and faithful. Missionary efforts and related activities are well supported. Church is a very important thing in Quakertown.
I came to this idea, we ought to be able to impact our community better than anyone else. If our church closed its door, would anyone really notice or care? And at that point, I'm not sure people would have really noticed. So that sort of drove me to our community and asking, what are the needs of our community? And I just started interacting with local leaders and just started asking them that question.
He said that he really wanted to get involved. He knew that he could get support, and he had a vision. And we talked about that vision.
He just identified, yeah, we're struggling with what he labeled a growing group of parentless, directionless teens hanging out at 2 local parks. And he said one of those parks was a skate park. I was like, skate park? That sounds like fun. That sounds like the closest thing to dirt bikes, you know, in Quakertown. Coming out of high school, I was able to race professionally for about 6 years. Never was a hero at it, never made a huge amount of money, but sure as heck had a lot of fun. God never wastes our past. And so when I look back at my racing days, he used that preparation, that time with my dad on the road, that time in that environment to really prepare me for this new environment, which was out at the park. There's a lot of similarities.